Something that you buy on Taobao after you've drank too much tequila. I feel great. Thanks for asking.
Personalized bottle openers.
Sorry.
Sexy bottle openers.
Sexy bottle openers. Okay?
Sexy ashtray.
Sexy ashtray.
Sexy pillows.
Sexy pillow.
Unnecessarily sexy shoes.
Sexy shoes. Okay. Okay. I like it. I like it. Shoes that are not necessarily sexy. We're going to play a little game for you called Everything's Alive. And I'm going to be interviewing a shoe that is not necessarily sexy. Okay? And I know that, sometimes we get up here and we try to make you laugh, but in this game, we're not necessarily trying just to make you laugh, but we really want to get deep down inside the heart and feelings and essence of a shoe that is not necessarily sexy. Okay? I'm going to have some questions that I'm going to want to ask the shoe, whose name is coincidentally Aaron. But it may, no, I'm not commenting on whether or not Aaron is sexy. I'll let you decide that. Not necessarily. But it might be the case that you guys also have some questions that you want to ask this shoe to find out what it's like to be a shoe that's not necessarily sexy. And that's allowed. You guys, feel free to ask a question for a price. So before we start, would anybody like to pay 50 RMB for the right to ask a question to a shoe?
I have a shoe that's not necessarily sexy.
Okay, that's good to know. And are you also going to pay 50 RMB to ask a question? 50 RMB, the gentleman over here. All right. Thank you very much, sir. What's your name, please? What's your name?
Derek.
Derek. All right, Derek's gonna be able to ask a question. Does anybody else want to ask a question for 50 kwai? For the kids.
I would ask a question.
A question over here. And could you tell everybody your name?
Tiffany.
Tiffany is going to also pay 50 kwai. At some point soon, I think Juan is going to drop by with a QR code so you guys can pay for that. All right, so we've got questions from Derek and Tiffany. Maybe one more person wants to drop in at 50 for the kids?
I like it.
Yes, thank you very much. Tell everybody your name, please.
Vlad.
Vlad is also going to be asking a question. Give it up for Vlad, Tiffany, and welcome. On today's program, we are delighted to have a special guest named Aaron, who's joining us now. Aaron is a shoe. I don't usually like to comment on the looks of my guests, but I would say that there has been some commentary about the fact that our guest Aaron is not sexy in a conventional, typical sense of the word. But you know what? Let's speak to him, and I'll let you decide. Thank you so much for joining us, Aaron.
Yeah, thank you. I probably could have just said my name was Aaron and that was it. Welcome me onto the show. I don't think you needed to go into the fact of my looks, or not. I'm just a running shoe. I'm just an old running shoe. Okay, they're sexy, but it's just a shoe. I get a job done. Someone wants to go running, they put me on. So yeah, I'm a little bit worn. I'm a little bit used. Haven't been washed for a while. It's not my fault. I would love to get washed. But I don't put myself in the washing machine. I'm sorry, I'm being a bit defensive.
No, it's not. We're all pleased to have you here, Aaron, and I'm glad that you feel that you can speak your truth and speak your heart.
I just don't like this fetishization of shoes. Just let a shoe be a shoe. Well, okay, so you look at high heels and you think, ooh, so sexy. But, actually, can you run in high heels? Can you run very well in high heels? Can you do a marathon in high heels?
Marathon in high heels? No. Whoever was saying yes before, yes, I can run in high heels.
Exactly. Could you wear flip-flops to a business meeting?
Yes.
See, I just think people nowadays they put a lot of emphasis on their shoe. You know, they go and they buy really expensive ones like Jordans, all those other expensive shoes.
Can I ask what kind you are?
I'm made in a factory in China. I'm called Reebok.
Sir, was that Reebok?
No, Reebok. They don't have the authority to print the K.
Okay.
Reebok.
Do you remember being made in this factory in
Yeah,
China?
I remember they stretched me through this long machine. They put me into this like wooden foot. It was like I lost my virginity to like this wooden foot. It was the first foot I ever closed in around.
So that sounds a little sexy.
Well, it was cold. You know, normally people's feet, they're quite warm, you know, and there's a nice sock, so you get that little soft vibration. A wooden shoe, a wooden foot was just like, ugh, I felt like I was violated. But it did give me the shape that I am today.
It sounds like it was a sort of traumatic birth that brought you into this world.
Well, yeah, it was harder for my twin, the left side. Yeah,
Why is
see,
that?
they had the left wooden shoe had this abnormal sticking out toe, so it's all formed all wrong.
Okay. Does that cause? Sorry, are you saying when you're actually on the feet of your owner,
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised, yeah.
you sometimes end up? So you've have. Let me just ask how many feet have actually been inside of you, if that's something you know. You mentioned the wooden foot that sort of formed you and gave birth to you. Your owner's, I guess, right foot usually, but occasionally the left foot has also been inside you. And
It's all sorts of wrong. When the left goes in, all sorts of wrong.
not right.
It's not right. I mean, I think a gentleman never tells how many feet. A gentle shoe never tells how many.
Well, look, there's nobody else listening right now. You know, forget the cameras in the audience. It's just you, me, and the Staten Island ferry.
I'd say close to 800 toes have been inside.
Wow.
Actually, no, 843. I remember this one guy. He didn't have 2 toes.
I'm sorry, are these people who tried you on in the store before you were sold, or does your owner?
No, I'm not a test. You think I'm a test man?
No, I'm just trying to understand.
You son of a bitch! You think they would put me out there for all those plebs, all those disgusting shoppers to put their dirty ass feet inside? You make me sick. If I could puke, I would puke.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. I just don't understand, other than being in the shop, how does one shoe have 843 different toes in it? Have you been...
Will the spiders count?
Do they have toes?
Yeah. Little tiny ones. Sometimes they wear little tiny socks too. But that's only the daddy long legs. I try and fold in on the spider, but then it suffocates. And then it's like I got this feeling of like a dead spider inside of me.
I think it's time for a question from our audience.
Sure?
I believe, Tiffany, you had a question for our guest, Aaron.
Yes. Hi, Aaron. I have a question. In your shoe organizer or closet, wherever you're stored mostly, who is the easiest pair of shoes to get along with in your little community?
In your closet or shoe organizer, who is the easiest shoe to get along with in your community?
Good question. So, in my little shoe community, thank you for using the correct terminology. We actually call it a shoe box, but it's okay. There are the high heels. We had a thing. So it's a little bit awkward, you know. Yeah.
It's like dating somebody you work with. You have to go and see them even when it's all over.
So she's a little bit, where have you been? I'm like, I've gone running. She's like, oh yeah, it's always running. I'm like, well, it's not my problem. The least favorite, cowboy boots. Yeah, they're fucking full of shit. Literally and metaphorically full of shit. Can you imagine coming home and you've just ran like 5 km and you just want to get all this sweaty smell off of you, and you go inside and then there's, "Hi there, partner, where you been at? Hey, it looks like you got some grub on your soul." I say, "Is that even where are you from? Are you a cowboy boots made in the US?" And they say, "Nah, sir, I was made in Cameroon." I said, "That's a weird accent." And they say, "Well, I had some leather from Georgia, put inside of me." I say, "Oh, you're a repair job." Because I got a little bit of Italian in me. Yeah, my laces. Guy hung himself with them in prison. Yeah, I'm prison laces. You know? Yeah, after they hang themselves, they just give them away.
I think we had a question from the audience. Over here, Derek.
Thank you. As a not so sexy shoe.
Well, hold on. I thought, do other people think I'm not so sexy either?
I think, I'm sorry. It's just that I introduced you as a not so sexy shoe, which I think is why Derek is just quoting me. It's not necessarily anybody's opinion.
I think many people, maybe not myself, could understand maybe if you don't get enough socks.
Yeah. I've been.
So I believe the question, in case anybody didn't hear, was as a not so sexy shoe, maybe you just don't get enough socks.
Well, you know what they say. Once you settle in together, once you get in a home, the socks goes down. You know, it's like, "Oh, honey, I'm too tired for socks." It's like we said we were going to sock once a week, and now it's once a month, and it's like, I just want to sock you. You know. I just want to pull you down. I just want to bend you over and sock you right in the hole. Right? But you know, it turns out, really, even if you sock each other, the emptiness is not the socks. It's the fact that there's no feet in me. Now, if it was a human, I have to say, on the first date, wear a sock. Be protected, all right? But when we're a bit comfortable with each other, I don't mind going commando. I don't mind no socks. I'm clean. But I did have one person before that gave me athlete's foot. Yeah, I had to wring all my other pairs of shoes in the shoebox. It was an awkward time. They're like, "How could you get athlete's foot? Were you not wearing socks?" And I was like, "Ooh," but it felt so good.
I think you had a question over here.
Yep. If it was your power and your choice and your control, what is the best foot you can ever imagine? The best foot being inside you?
Probably like a penguin.
Let me, just in case anybody didn't hear the question, sorry to cut you off there. If it was your choice, what's the best foot you could imagine being inside you? And I'm sorry, the answer was...
It's a penguin,
yeah.
Probably. Because if you think about it, there's a lot of friction going on. They take very little steps. and they huddle together for warmth. And I don't know, I just would like to be under the water sometimes. I get washed at least.
There's that.
But yeah, you know, if I had to choose one person's foot in the whole world to be inside of me, it would probably be you.
Oh.
Wait, what size are you?
Okay. Big enough.
Wow.
They all say that.
Wow. For a what was billed as a not necessarily sexy interview, I think it's about the time to wrap up. So could we have a very big, warm-hearted round of applause for You know what? I think I'm going to come right out and say it. Aaron, the very sexy shoe. Ladies and gentlemen.